Ladies and gentlemen, you know what toxic people want from you? Your reaction. That spark of anger, that frustration, that need to prove yourself. Because when you give them that, you give them control. But here's the truth. The one thing you can do one time that makes toxic people disappear from your life is stop giving them what they came for. When someone crosses a line, most people argue, defend, or explain. That's normal. But toxic people, they thrive on that. They twist it, spin it, and pull you deeper into their chaos. So here's what you do. One time with absolute clarity, you set your boundary and you don't debate it. You say, that doesn't work for me. And then you stop talking. That's it. No explanation, no negotiation, no justifying why you said what you said. Because the moment you defend your boundary, you've already opened the door for them to push against it. Think about it. When you close a door and lock it, you don't stand there arguing with the person outside. You just leave it shut. And that's exactly what you do with toxic people. They will test it, they will push, they will try to drag you back in. But if you hold the line just once, they realize they have no power here. And here's the beautiful part. The freedom doesn't come from controlling them. It comes from controlling you. Because peace isn't something they ever had the ability to give you. It's something you claim when you stop letting them pull you into their storm. So do this once. Decide where your boundary is. Hold it without debate, and let your silence speak louder than any argument ever could. You'll never be bothered the same way again. Because when you stop playing their game, they stop playing with you. Toxic people thrive on reaction. Silence is stronger than words. The reason they keep coming back, the reason they seem to always find a way to drag you into their negativity is because they know how to get under your skin. They press the right buttons, stir up the right emotions, and suddenly you find yourself defending, explaining, or even shouting just to be heard. And that's exactly what they want. They don't need to be right. They just need to know they can shake you. When you react, you hand them the power they were searching for. But silence, real grounded, unbothered silence, is something they don't know how to deal with. Toxic people are experts at chaos, but they can't thrive in calm. When you choose not to react, when you choose stillness instead of defense, you take away their fuel. It's like trying to light a fire without oxygen. It simply dies out. And this doesn't mean you're weak or that you're letting them win. It means you understand that not every battle is worth fighting, and not every comment deserves a response. Silence is not about avoidance. It's about control. It's about showing without words that you are not available for their games. When you no longer rise to their bait, they lose interest. Because the truth is, toxic people are not drawn to strength. They are drawn to the cracks where they can insert their chaos. When you give them nothing but silence, they're forced to face their own noise without your energy to feed on. This doesn't mean you never speak up. Sometimes a boundary must be set, and clarity must be given. But even then, the strength isn't in how long you argue, or how passionately you defend your stance. It's in how calmly you state it, and how quickly you end the conversation once it's been said. That doesn't work for me, full stop. No explanation, no justification, no invitation to debate. And after that, silence. Because if you keep explaining, you're not setting a boundary, you're opening a door. Here's the thing. Silence feels uncomfortable at first. We're taught to respond, to justify, to keep the peace by explaining ourselves. But peace doesn't come from pleasing toxic people. Peace comes from refusing to give them access to your energy. The first time you try it, they may push harder. They'll say more. They'll get louder. They'll try everything to break your calm. But when they see you are unmoved, that you don't flinch, that your silence is stronger than any insult they can throw, something changes. They stop seeing you as an easy target, and over time, that silence becomes your shield. You won't need to prove your worth. You won't need to defend your choices, and you won't need to waste energy in battles that were never yours to begin with. You'll carry your peace wherever you go, and toxic people will learn that they can't reach you anymore. Because the loudest statement you can ever make to someone who thrives on reaction is to give them none at all. In the end, silence is not weakness. It is power. It is freedom. And it is the one thing that ensures toxic people can never truly bother you again. Your boundary is not up for debate. It's a decision, not a discussion. The moment you start explaining, justifying, or defending why you set a boundary, you hand over the very power that boundary was meant to protect. Boundaries are not about convincing someone else to agree with you. They are about you standing firmly in what you know is right for your peace, your values, and your life. A toxic person will always try to make you think your limits are negotiable. They'll argue, they'll guilt trip, they'll twist your words to make you second-guess yourself. And if you're not careful, you'll spend more time explaining why your boundary exists than actually protecting it. A decision is final. Think of it like locking your front door. You don't stand there at night justifying to strangers why you want the door closed. You don't explain the reasons for keeping your home safe. You simply shut it, lock it, and carry on with your evening. That's what a boundary is. It's a locked door to your energy, your time, your peace. You don't owe anyone the key, and you certainly don't owe them an explanation for why it's locked. The mistake many people make is turning a boundary into a debate. They say, "I don't like when you talk to me that way," and then wait for the other person to agree. But toxic people rarely agree. Instead, they'll say, "You're too sensitive," or "You're overreacting," or "That's not what I meant." And suddenly, you're not protecting your peace anymore. You're defending your character. That's the trap. Boundaries collapse the moment you treat them like an invitation for negotiation. The strength of a boundary is not in the words you say, but in the action you take after you say them. If you say, "This is not acceptable," and they cross it anyway, your silence and your distance speak louder than any argument ever could. You don't need to scream. You don't need to prove your point. You simply walk away from the debate they're trying to start, because your decision has already been made. And yes, people will test you, especially the ones who benefited most from you having no boundaries. They'll push, they'll resist, they'll even get angry, but their reaction doesn't matter. What matters is that you don't fold when they push, that you don't turn your firm decision into a flexible option just to keep the peace. Because the peace you're protecting isn't with them, it's within yourself. When you understand this boundary, stop feeling like confrontation and start feeling like freedom. They're not walls to keep people out. They're doors that you decide who gets to walk through. And once you realize that your boundary is not a topic for negotiation, you'll see that the people who truly respect you won't fight them. They'll honor them. The ones who resist, they'll reveal exactly why the boundary needed to be there in the first place. So remember this, your boundary is your responsibility. You don't ask permission to set it. You don't debate its worth. You don't beg for understanding. You decide, you act, and you protect. Because the moment you treat your boundary as a discussion, you hand it over. But the moment you treat it as a decision, you take your peace back. And that's a choice you only need to make once to change everything. You don't have to win. You just have to walk away with peace. Something most people don't realize until they've spent years trying to prove themselves to people who were never going to understand them anyway. Toxic people love to drag you into arguments where there is no finish line, no resolution, no real, because for them, the goal isn't truth or fairness. The goal is control. The moment you take the bait and fight to be right, you've already given them what they wanted. Your energy. Think about the last time you got into an argument with someone who thrives on negativity. Did you walk away feeling lighter, or did you walk away feeling drained? Replaying the conversation in your head, wishing you'd said something different. That's the trap. Even if you came up with the smartest comeback, even if you proved every point with logic, you didn't win. You lost time, peace, and energy. The three things that matter more than being right. Walking away doesn't mean you're weak. It means you're wise enough to see that some battles aren't worth fighting. It means you understand that your sanity is worth more than someone else's approval. People often confuse silence or walking away with surrender, but it's the exact opposite. When you leave an argument that was designed to keep you stuck, you're the one in control. You're the one who chooses peace over chaos, calm over conflict. That's not weakness. That's strength. Here's the truth. Peace doesn't come from winning against someone else. Peace comes from winning within yourself. from knowing you could have fought, but you didn't need to. You don't have to have the last word. You don't have to prove your value to someone who's already decided not to see it. You don't have to explain yourself over and over just to make someone finally agree. That's not peace. That's prison. Every time you walk away, you break free from that prison. The real win is not standing in the ashes of a burned-out argument, holding a trophy that says you were right. The real win is walking away untouched by the fire, carrying your calm with you. Because at the end of the day, arguments fade. People move on, and those who thrive on conflict will just find someone else to fight with. But your peace, that stays with you, as long as you protect it. So when you feel that pull, that urge to prove yourself, to win the fight, to deliver the perfect response, stop and ask, what do I really want here? Is it to be right, or is it to be free? Because the truth is, you don't need to win an argument to win your life. The next time someone tries to bait you, remember this: you don't have to prove them wrong. You don't have to convince them. You don't have to win. You just have to walk away with peace. And that will always be the bigger victory. Because peace is something no one else can give you. And it's something no one can take away, unless you hand it to them. Walking away isn't losing. Walking away is choosing yourself every single time. One firm action done once can close the door permanently. The mistake many people make with toxic individuals is thinking they need to fight them over and over, as if every encounter is a brand new battle. But here's the truth: you don't have to spend your life defending yourself. One strong, clear action taken with conviction can end the cycle for good. Toxic people thrive on repetition. They count on you wavering, second-guessing, softening your stance so they can sneak back in. But when you stand firm one time, when you make it clear that their behavior has no place in your life, you shut down the game before it even begins. Think about it like closing a door. If you gently push it, someone can push back. If you leave it cracked open, someone can slide right in. But if you close it firmly and lock it once, the message is clear. Entry is no longer an option. That's what one firm action looks like in your life. It could be a direct conversation, where you say, "This is not acceptable, and I won't engage in it again." It could be walking away from an argument without returning. It could be cutting off access to your time, your space, or even your contact information. The point isn't how dramatic the action is. The point is how clear and final it feels. Toxic people are skilled at testing limits. The moment they sense hesitation, they see an opportunity. They know that if they push long enough, most people eventually bend. That's why one firm action is so powerful. It doesn't just stop them in the moment. It sends a signal that there's nothing left to push against. It takes away the thrill of trying to break you down. And once they realize you are serious, that you won't budge, they move on. Not because they respect you, but because they can no longer control you. Of course, this takes courage. It's not easy to take that firm action, especially when you fear conflict, or when you've been conditioned to keep the peace. But here's the irony. The peace you're protecting by avoiding conflict is false peace. It's fragile, temporary, and it always breaks. The real peace comes when you take that one firm step and close the door for good. It might feel hard in the moment, but the freedom it creates afterward is worth everything. One firm action done once has the power to protect your time, your energy, and your sanity for years to come. You don't need endless conversations, endless explanations, or endless arguments. You need one decision, one action, one line in the sand that doesn't move. And when you take it, you'll notice something incredible. The noise starts to fade, the chaos starts to die down, and your peace, a thing you were fighting for all along, finally takes root. So don't underestimate the power of one choice, one stand, one firm action. It can change the course of your relationships, your confidence, and your life. Close the door once, and you'll never have to fight the same battle again. Respect isn't demanded from toxic people, it's protected by you. That's one of the hardest lessons to accept, because we all want to believe that if we just explain ourselves the right way, if we just show enough patience, if we just give someone enough chances, they'll finally treat us the way we deserve. But toxic people don't operate on fairness or empathy. They operate on control. And if they can make you chase respect from them, they've already won. The more you try to demand it, the more they withhold it. because that's how they keep you trapped. The truth is, you can't force anyone to respect you. Respect that isn't freely given isn't real. And waiting around for toxic people to suddenly recognize your worth is like waiting for the sun to rise in the west. It's never going to happen. That's why the power shifts the moment you stop demanding it and start protecting it. Protecting your respect means drawing the line clearly, not because you want them to approve of it, but because you refuse to let them cross. When you protect respect, you're no longer asking for permission to be treated well. You're not negotiating your value. You're not explaining why you deserve basic decency. You're simply living in a way that says, this is the standard. Either meet it or you don't get access to me. Toxic people will often test this by calling you cold, selfish, or dramatic, but their reaction doesn't define your worth. In fact, their pushback usually confirms that your boundary was necessary in the first place. Protecting respect doesn't always mean cutting people out completely, though sometimes that's the right choice. It can also mean changing how much access they have to your time, your emotions, or your energy. It can mean refusing to answer the phone when they only call to unload negativity. It can mean keeping your answers short when they try to bait you into arguments. It can mean walking away when their words turn disrespectful. Each of those moments is you protecting your respect, not asking for it, not hoping for it, but actively choosing it. And here's the when you stop demanding respect from toxic people, you stop feeling disappointed by them. You stop waiting for something they were never going to give. You stop tying your self-worth to their approval. Instead, you realize respect is something you create and maintain for yourself. And when you treat yourself with that level of seriousness, the right people rise to meet it naturally. The ones who can't or won't, they fall away because there's no space for them in a life built on self-respect. So stop handing toxic people the keys to your work. Stop begging for respect from people who thrive on withholding it. Protect it, guard it, and live in it as if it's already yours. Because it is. And once you do, you'll see that respect was never something they had the power to give or take away. It's something you've had all along. And the moment you start protecting it, you'll never need to demand it again. Peace is not something they give you. It's something you choose. Many people waste years waiting for peace to come from other people finally change. They think once this person apologizes, once they start respecting me, once they stop causing drama, then I'll finally feel peace. But peace doesn't work like that. If you're depending on toxic people to hand it to you, you'll be waiting forever. They don't want your peace. They want your reaction, your energy, your frustration. They thrive on disruption. And that's why peace can never be left in their hands. It's a choice you make every day to stop letting them control how you feel. Peace is not when the noise outside goes quiet. Peace is when the noise outside doesn't shake the calm inside. That's why it's not about controlling them. It's about controlling yourself. You can't stop someone else from being toxic. You can't change how they think, how they act, or how they treat people. But you can change whether or not you let it enter your space. You can choose silence instead of arguing. You can choose to walk away instead of being pulled into a fight. You can choose to let go of what you can't control and hold tightly to what you can. That's what choosing peace looks like. It's not easy, especially when you've been conditioned to believe you have to respond, defend, or prove yourself. Toxic people will tell you that your calm means you don't care, that your silence means they've won. But don't be fooled. That's their attempt to pull you back in. The truth is, choosing peace is the ultimate win, because it shows that their chaos no longer owns you. You're no longer trapped in their storm. You're standing in your own stillness, untouched. Peace is powerful because it puts you back in control. It means you don't need anyone else's permission to feel okay. It means you can walk into any room, deal with any person, and still remain grounded in yourself. And once you learn that peace is a choice, you stop giving it away so easily. You stop trading it for arguments that don't matter. You stop surrendering it for approval you'll never get. You stop letting people dictate how you feel, based on how they treat you. And here's the best part. When you consistently choose peace, toxic people lose interest. They're not drawn to people they can't rattle. They're not invested in relationships where they have no control. They'll either shift their behavior or slowly fade out of your life. Either way, you win, because your peace remains intact. So stop waiting for peace to arrive like a gift from someone else. It's not in their hands.
It's in yours. You decide when enough is enough. You decide when silence is stronger than reaction. You decide when to walk away instead of stepping into the trap. And every time you choose peace, you remind yourself that no one, no matter how toxic, has the power to steal what you've already claimed. Peace is not given, it's chosen. And once you choose it, you'll never give it up again. At the end of it all, the message is simple. Toxic people only have as much power as you give them. They thrive on your reaction. But silence can be stronger than words. Your boundary is not up for debate. It's a decision, not a discussion. You don't have to win the argument. You just have to walk away with peace. One firm action done once can close the door permanently. Respect isn't demanded from them. It's protected by you. And peace, it's not something they give you. It's something you choose every single time. When you start living by these truths, something changes. You stop chasing approval. You stop wasting energy. And you stop letting toxic people dictate how you feel. Instead, you stand firm, calm and free. And the moment you claim that kind of peace, the noise around you doesn't matter anymore, because you've finally taken back control of your life.